Nelson Mandela, The Fight for Equality.
Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, at Muezo, a tiny village on the banks of Mbashe River in the district of Mtata, the capital of Transkei.
He lived with his father, mother, and his siblings. His father was Godla Henry Mfakaniswa, a chief of Mezo. His father had 4 wives. The third wife was his mother, whose name was Nosekeni Fani.
Mandela's father died when he was 9 years old, and Chief Duncan Taba offered and became his guardian. Mandela went to the University College of Fort Hare to get his Bachelor of Arts degree, but he didn't get the degree because he was expelled for joining in a student protest. He later returned to Fort Hare in 1943 for his graduation.
His commitment to politics began after going to Johannesburg and seeing how racially divided South Africa was. This was known as apartheid, a system of strict racial segregation and white domination.
Mandela joined the ANC, the African National Congress. The ANC was an organization that aimed to establish a democratic government and protest to end the apartheid.
On December 5, 1956, Mandela and 155 other activists were arrested and went to trial for treason. On March 29, 1961, Mandela and the defendants were acquitted of treason. In order not to get arrested again, Mandela goes underground for 17 months.
August 5, 1962, Mandela was arrested again for leaving the country illegally and inciting the 1961 workers' strike. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison.
July 11, 1963, the government charges Mr. Mandela and 8 co-defendants with sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. The trial was known as the Ravania trial. It established Mr. Mandela's central role in the struggle against apartheid. This was the end of his speech before going to prison.
I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
June 12, 1964, Mandela and 7 others were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Mandela spent the first 18 of his 27 years in jail at the brutal Robben Island prison. Despite being in jail, Mandela remained the symbolic leader of the anti-apartheid movement.
In 1989, the newly elected president, F.W. de Klerk, pledges to phase out apartheid.
February 2, 1990, Mr. de Klerk lifted the ban on the ANC and several other political organizations. February 11, 1990, after nearly 30 years, Nelson Mandela, now 71 years old, is finally released.
In 1993, Mandela shared the Nobel Peace Prize with F.W. de Klerk. May 10, 1994, Mandela is sworn in as South Africa's first democratically elected president.
The time for the healing of the wounds has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.
After leaving the office, Mandela continued his legacy. He remained a devoted champion of peace and social justice in his own country and around the world.
Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013, from a recurring lung infection at the age of 95.
Rest in peace to one of the greatest leaders to ever live.
I just want to thank God for all the pretty women He let into my life, all the Benjamins He let me count.